how to be unforgettable on a date. In this video, you will discover what makes a man remember you and how you can leave this imprint, almost like an emotional tattoo that makes him come back to you over and over again. Hey, I'm Antia, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man method. And look, this is the channel where we magnetize your man so that the man you want, desires, and pursues you forever. Now, of course, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe for more juicy videos coming your way that will help you to attract and keep the right man for you. And I would also recommend listen to the end for a surprising bonus as well. So let's go ahead and dive right in how you can make yourself unforgettable on a date. Number 5 is charisma, right? And so what does charisma mean? Charisma is really said that people who have charisma have a high level of emotional range. And so what that means is right there, like have no problems expressing their sadness. They have no problems to just be joyful, ecstatic, silly, all the things, right? And of course, also angry and annoyed and, all the things, confused. So they show up with all the colors of the rainbow, right? They're really showing that they're emotionally available. And the reason why it's so unforgettable is because it actually makes a direct impact on the man, right? It's like as if you're handing the man an emotional resume, but not through talking, but through being. And then he is asking himself, oh, wait a minute, where is that part inside of myself that's maybe angry? Or where's that part inside of myself that's sad? Or where's the part inside of myself that's like silly and outrageous? And it's really cool because it also shows them like there's room to grow with you, right? There's going to be variety. So all of the human needs are going to be met for him, right? There's going to be uncertainty. You're going to explore things together. You're going on adventures together. So there's so much in that when you allow yourself to go into that emotional range. Also, unconsciously, you actually communicate that you are totally confident and that you feel safe with him, right? Because one thing that I always say when women say, well, I don't feel safe to be seen. And my answer to that is, well, do you allow yourself to be seen? Do you even show, do you give a man a chance to fully see you? Or are you waiting for that to happen and then you finally show up who you really are? And that's, of course, not working, right? So what women do instead of showing their emotional range, and this is why I brought this in, is they cover up their emotions. So let's say they share something beautiful, right? Maybe they share something that made them sad, or maybe something that's actually they're really passionate about, makes them really angry, right? But they're like, no, let me just, no. Like they laugh it off. They're like, oh, just kidding. You know what I mean? I just want to water down a little bit. You know what I mean? And don't make it too, palpable for you to digest, right? And so that's, of course, like a big no-no because it's so confusing for the man, right? Because he's like, wait a minute, like I thought she was just angry, but now she's laughing and now she's saying, don't take me as serious. And like, it's all like, no. It's like mixed messages, right? So don't do that. Express your emotions instead. Number 4 is end the date first, girlfriend. And again, this goes back to, well, you have places to go. You have people to meet. You have a life to get back to. So when you end the date first and you say, you know what? The love life is like one part of my life, but it's not the whole enchilada, right? You are not the source of my happiness. You're not the source of a state change. I create this in my life all the time, whether it be in career, in your health, in your social life, right? With your family, friends, right? But your life is full. So you're like, you know what? It's been so enjoyable. I gotta go, right? And then also what that really shows is self-care, right? Like, especially if the date's at night, you know what? Just really have an early morning to get up to tomorrow, have a beautiful night because you're really communicating, oh, of course I take care of myself, right? Like, of course I go to bed at a reasonable time. Of course I leave some space to do some yoga stretches, to read a little bit, to journal a little bit, right? Like to meditate a little bit. Like, of course, of course I'm invest that time and that space into me before I go to bed. So again, you're handing him this resume to treat you like a queen. Now, what women normally do, right, at least the ones that come to me, is they wait for the man to end the date because they feel so excited and they feel potentially there's not going to be a second date. So they hold on for dear life until the man is just really, they go from one restaurant to the bar to the next thing to the next thing. And the man loses more and more interest, right? Because why? Because there's not that much tension left, right? So the longer you stay, the more sort of air tension goes out of the balloon, right? The balloon of passion, a balloon of, polarity, if you will, right? And so that's really unattractive because then you send a signal, I have nowhere to go. All I want to be is with you, right? Like, what? Okay, that's like maybe cute. That's maybe a compliment one time. But if you do that repetitively, like the man will really feel like, wow, I'm the be all end all. Like she already put me on a pedestal. I don't even have to do anything. And that's when men actually start to take you for granted, breadcrumb you, right? Like, because they know they don't have to do that much. Like you're already willing to sacrifice everything, to put your whole life on hold for him. So remember to end the date first. And not because I told you that, but because you're supposed to have a life, right? In a self-appreciation routine that you have to end the date first. Because you have to walk your dog, and you have to take a shower, a bath, like you have to sit down with a girlfriend and digest how the date went. Things like that. You need time to come back to yourself because you may actually be really caught up in sort of the energy with him, right? But then that can become really convoluted, and that can happen to a lot of women who are growing up with narcissistic parents, with emotionally unavailable parents, right? And they get so lost in the other person's agenda and the other person's emotions and the other person's world that they don't even have a routine and a strategy to come back to themselves. So of course you want to have that authentically. This has to be an authentic desire for you to actually come back into your own body. Number 3 is leave open loops. Girlfriend, don't answer all the questions. Don't put all your stories and all your skeletons and all the things on the table. No, keep it light, keep it interesting. You could just playfully say, hey, we could just really get into this right now, couldn't we? But then you say in a way but we don't. You know what I mean? You just say, hey, we really could have. So if you were an animal, what would you be and why? Right? So you create this tension, right? It's wait a minute. So she just said she could really get into it, but we're not getting into it. But she's acknowledging we could get into it. So wait, is she going to get into it later? Right? And so, or you could say, you know what, this is a topic for another day, right? Or, this is, things like that. So that's like really future pacing the man to be like, oh, okay, this is great, right? I need to put in some effort, I'm not going to get the whole enchilada from her today. And another way how you can do that, sort of leave those open loops, is actually by asking more sort of metaphorical questions, right? And not even saying what you really think about that, right? If you were a country, what would you be and why? If you were, I don't know, a kitchen utensil, have fun. Look, I told my friend who just retired from an 8-figure company, right? He sold it, to do that with his date. And he was laughing at me. I said, just try it, you know what I mean? And he didn't want to try it. He refused. But then they ran out of things to say at the date. So he's like, wait a minute, what did, and then he said, well, my friend Antia, she's like a dating coach, and, so she says, I'm supposed to ask you this. And they laughed, they're like, if you were a fruit, what would you be and why? And all the things. And just you're just having a light conversation and you're ending up in sort of this feminine space that's relatively meaningless. However, you get to actually connect on a deeper level sometimes when you have meaningless conversations, right? Because it's about the energy, it's about the emotion, not the intellect. You can still throw in some meaningful questions here and there, right? But you don't want to be you don't want to be too heavy, too serious, too adult-like. You just want to have fun and let go, right? It's like a Saturday night where, we're just getting to know each other. We're just seeing how we're gelling with each other. We're seeing how we bounce off each other, right? And we're not trying to figure out if we're going to get married tomorrow. Now, what women do most of the time is they close all the loops. They answer all the questions. Now, I remember watching Crystal on The Bachelor. Now, she was one of the bachelorettes, right? Who was pursuing this bachelor. I forgot which one it was. And she just like dumped everything out, like all the things, the struggles with the brother who was like homeless and drug addicted and all the things, right? It's like, no, girlfriend, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why would she go on another date with you? Even worse when you do that on texting, because now he doesn't even have a reason to go out with you. So what you want to do instead is like hold back a little bit, right? Like it's not even necessarily hold back a little bit, but you just like, just a little bit. Let a man digest. Don't overwhelm, because otherwise he feels like, wow, I literally just feel like a stuffed turkey on Thanksgiving, and I need to like sleep for three years, you know what I mean? And recover from this date because it was so deep and so heavy and all the things. You don't want to do that. You want to keep it at a situation where he wants to see you again. He's texting you back. He's like, I can't even wait. And I want to hear how that story ended. And let me tell you again, and all the things. That's the conversation you want to have. Number 2 is stay in your body. Now, another thing women do, right, on a date when they get nervous, they leave the body, right? You don't even notice that. And how you do that is by focusing on the man, right? You're focusing on the man, like, oh, is he having a good time? Is he enjoying himself? All those things, right? So you're leaving your body. And if I were to say, did you feel your feet firmly rooted on the ground? You're like, what feet? Did you feel that the feet were weighing 1,000 pounds? What feet? And so that's what you would actually tell me, because yeah, that's like the biggest piece. It's like that you would actually like be so caught up in his energy that you're like, oh, like, wait, where am I? Like, what's happening? What's the time? What's the day of the week? Like, no, stay in your body, right? And you want to like really make sure, do I feel my butt in my chair? So good test, right? Do I feel my back against the chair? Okay, good test. Another good trick too is set yourself little reminders on your phone. Have it just be on vibrator, because you don't want to have like ring the door, like all the things, right? Just like, vibrate. It vibrates just loud enough that you can hear it. Not that your date can hear it, but you go into the bathroom and you just like you do body check, right? Am I in my body? Right? I'm in my body. Or maybe you have a little reminder on your phone that actually says like in body or something like that. Just that one word, right? And just like, oh, just a reminder. Let me be in my body. And then the man is going to feel more grounded in his body as well, right? He's going to feel more presence. And finally, number 1 is breathe and bring the focus back to yourself. So picture this. He's talking about, his dog, his favorite vacation, what just happened at work, the wedding of his best friend, or whatever it is, the latest, getaway with the guys, all the things. And all you have to do is like, ah. Guess what happens? Where breath goes, attention goes, energy flows. Right? Where breath goes, energy flows, attention goes. And so he can't help then focus on you. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. I've been talking about myself for 15, 30, 45 minutes, an hour. What about you? How are you? Are you enjoying your dinner? Right? So you're actually inviting him on an unconscious level to bring his attention back to you. Now, this works really, really well if you normally give your power away, if you normally ask all the questions because you don't know what else to do. And so then the guy just keeps talking. Or it also works really, really well if you just want to rock, you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to be rude. You don't want to be inconsiderate. So you don't really want to interrupt him, right? Like you don't want to be like, I actually don't really care what you have to say. I don't want to be like a nasty bitch, right? I just want, it's fun. It's so interesting. Oh, isn't that funny? And meanwhile, you like completely drain out, right? You can't even process one more thing. No, just like, wow. And they're like, wow. Right? They have to actually come back and realize, wow, I talked so much about myself. Talk about yourself. Like, tell me, how did your day go? You know what I mean? Like, what's happening? So try that out and let me know how it goes. And for those of you who stayed until the very end, the question of the day is, what makes someone unforgettable for you? So I told you how to make yourself unforgettable for a man on a date. And now I want to hear vice versa. What can the man do to make himself unforgettable for you? So comment below. I would love to hear. Now, discover a powerful psychological trigger to make any man desire you at triggerhisdesire.com, or simply click the description in the comments below. And if you haven't done so already, watch next. When a man deeply loves you, he will start saying these 5 Thanks. Lots of love to you, ladies, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.